The reason why it all matters is because we do real news commentary. Here's the commentary I'm getting on this morning. I just started before. Federalist headline, Democrats' extremist crack-up makes Trump's governor hugely attractive to swing voters. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and explain the question that I've been asking for months, if not years now, as to how did the left become so progressive so quickly and so sort of extreme progressive so quickly? Now, I know I'm trying to be fair in this show. I would presume that some of the progressives might say the exact same thing about us with Trump and the Tea Party movement that happened before this and everything else now. But that's something I'm going to clarify as well. The extreme version of moving to a Democrat to a socialist is far more extreme than you could ever make a conversation of moving to a genuine general conservative to whatever version of Trump populist is. Because Trump's policies are still very, very, very much in line with your normal version of conservatism. Now, with that being said, in a baffling statement, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi claimed that Congresswoman Omar, rather, doesn't understand the full weight of her words and cultural context of her tweets when it comes to these sort of seemingly or allegedly anti-Semitic remarks that she made. Now, Congresswoman Omar is 40 years old and has lived in the United States since she was a teenager, so explain that away to me. The left in the United States, just like in the United Kingdom, is imploding under the weight of its contradictions, and the manifestations are ugly. Now, this author lives in the UK, so a lot of his analogies are drawn to sort of British politics, so you're going to have to bear with that a little bit. So again, this article attempts to answer the question Real News has been asking for 7 months, if not 7 years now. What led to the sudden difference and the seemingly inexplicable rapid change in the left? There's an old joke in communist-ruled Kolkata. You put 10 Marxists in a room, within an hour, there will be 11 denominations and blocks, and one would be outside, standing, calling the police because of a murder that just took place in the room. Now, sectarianism and factionalism is an old, ever-present leftist curse. Again, if you want to follow along, we're talking from the Federalist.com right here. Headline being Democrats' extremist crack-up makes Trump's governance hugely attractive to swing voters. The reason that these sectarianism and factionalism is an ever-present curse, the reason is in the worldview. It's fairly simple. And this breakdown I tend to agree with. Unlike conservatism, for example, which is more based on laws of nature, social hierarchy, prudence, personal responsibility, and restraint, progressivism is by definition an ideology that doesn't favor any status quo. That part I don't necessarily agree with, and this is where I need some help with the Real News audience. Either on Facebook, or if you want to give me a call, Crown Plaza call number 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255. This is a little bit political. I think it has much more to do with sort of a philosophical understanding of what your politics are. Now, when this author said that unlike conservatism, for example, which is based in laws of nature, I think most conservatives would agree with that unless we start talking. I'm trying to be really objective and pick this article apart here. Some conservatives would say I'm a climate change denier. Some conservatives would say I think the Earth is 6,000 years old. I don't believe in evolution. It's not exactly based in laws, but what they're talking about, the laws of nature, are sort of these objective principles. I use that word too often. These overarching principles, these principles that we all seemingly understand, that murder is bad, okay? Sort of a general revelation that you don't need to understand the special revelation of Jesus Christ to understand that there's a commonality, a link between all of humanity that makes us who we are, that makes us a little bit better than animals, that causes me to have an instantaneous sense of respect for Roz, even if I've never met her, because she's another human being, goodness gracious. You know what I'm saying? Social hierarchy. Conservatives certainly understand that. And the American dream understands it. The American dream understands that there are such things as social hierarchies. But the American dream gives you an opportunity to jump that caste system that you were born into. There is no such thing, or there should be no such thing, rather, as a caste system in America. Because on any given occasion, if you do what's right and you work hard enough, or if you just fall backwards and do it to dumb luck, you could become the next Mark Zuckerberg. Prudence, of course. Personal responsibility, I'm pretty sure we're the only party left with that. And restraint. In some areas. Now, here's where it gets a bit wonky for me. This author goes on to say, and again, keeping in mind what I'm trying to answer here is how this progressive leftist took over the Democrat Party so quickly. This author goes on to say that progressivism is, by definition, an ideology that doesn't favor any status quo. I don't think that's necessarily right. 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255. That's the Crown Plaza call number. Wait. I dropped something important. That's the Crown Plaza call number, or Facebook. Just go to Real News Radio. Type in Real News Radio to your Facebook search bar there if you want to answer this question. Here's the reason why I don't think it's progressivism, by definition, is an ideology that doesn't favor any status quo. It seems like, just to me, progressivism does favor some kind of status quo. If for nothing more, that status quo being not valuing any status quo. Now, I know that sounds strange, but follow me for a second. You get what I'm saying? It might seem on the surface like progressivism doesn't value any status quo at all, but it is. They are valuing status quo by not valuing any status quo at all. That is the status quo they're valuing. Does that make sense? It might sound trite, but progressives that are truly sold out to the tenets of the religion must demonstrate allegiance through constant and continual virtue signaling. This has gone past mere groupthink or peer pressure. It's an outright coerced requirement. Thus, that requirement has become, for all intents and purposes, the status quo of the progressive movement and leftist ideology. You get what I'm saying? It might seem like by shirking off the normal status quo, but the fact that there is a requirement, if you're not doing it, there's a requirement to acknowledge that you are okay with someone else doing it on your behalf, or you're okay if you were ever called upon to do it. That virtue signaling, the requirement to virtue signal, has become their new status quo. 7:48 in the morning. Hit this last break. Be right back.